So in the past, I've talked about the ACLU and how much ass they kick, and today I realized that they continue kicking ass and I'm 100% in favor of it. Well, it turns out that several legal groups, including the ACLU, took the Los Angeles Board of Education to court. And the reason why they did that is because the Los Angeles Unified School District was not providing equal access of public education to all students. Now, why were they doing that? Well, this is really interesting. The LAUSD, as well as several other school districts across the country, have this policy of firing teachers based on seniority, especially when it comes to tough economic times. So I'll give you an example. Last year in early 2009, more than 3,000 people who work for the LAUSD were fired. Most of those individuals, most of which were teachers, were fired based on seniority. So they were deemed inexperienced. Their performance wasn't looked at all. They just said, look, the district said, look, we gotta lay people off. We don't have enough money to pay for all these teachers. So last hired, first fired, see you later. Now, to be fair, a lot of those teachers got rehired, but I've always had a problem with that policy of firing teachers based on their seniority, because I think that performance is more important. Now, the ACLU and several legal groups took the LA Board of Education to court, and they said, look, most of these inexperienced teachers are clustered in low-income schools. So when it comes to budget cuts and when it comes time to lay teachers off, these low-income schools are hit the hardest because most of their teachers get fired. Right? When it comes to wealthier areas, most of those schools have teachers that have been working for decades, so they're less likely to get laid off. So the suit specifically named 3 different middle schools in the LAUSD that were hit hardest by these budget cuts and these layoffs. It turns out that when the pink slips were issued, 3 of these middle schools had 2/3 of their teachers laid off. So they had to make ends meet with very few teachers. Whereas in rich areas, where they have the experienced teachers, they were hardly hit at all by the economic downturn. So that's unfair because, of course, as always, the poor students get hosed again. So the ACLU noticed this, along with other legal groups, I should say, and they said, no, this is not okay. We are taking the LAUSD, we're taking the LA Board of Education to court, and we are going to ask them why they are not providing equal education to all students. And the LA Board of Education decided to sign a settlement that would cap the number of teachers that would be fired based on seniority. So that agreement, that settlement, still needs to be signed by a judge, but we're expecting that to happen, and I think that's great. I think that's wonderful for a number of different reasons. First of all, it eliminates that inequality in the district when it comes to poor students versus rich students, and it also gives new teachers the chance to prove themselves. Because speaking from personal experience, some of the best educators that I came across in my middle school and high school experience were new teachers. They were teachers in their mid to late 20s. They were enthusiastic, they were motivated, they really cared about what they were doing, and they cared about the students that they were teaching. Some of the worst teachers I've had were the most experienced teachers that were just looking at their clocks every day, wondering when retirement was going to come around. Now, I'm not saying that all experienced teachers are that way, but when it comes to layoffs, when that unfortunate layoff process occurs, I think that the district and the school boards should really take a look at performance rather than the amount of time the teacher has been working for the district. Why is this important for all of you across the country? This is a landmark settlement. This is a settlement that is going to be looked at by other districts throughout the country, and they might consider the exact same thing. And I'm really hoping that that happens. And look, I've said this a million times before, the ACLU kicks ass. I love that we have an organization that's looking at our education system, our public education system, and making sure that equality is there, making sure that every student gets the same education, the same quality education as everyone else. Now, of course, the public education system has its issues, it has its problems, but I really think that organizations like the ACLU work hard to improve it and make it better. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about this story, and please check out my blog. I wrote about this on examiner.com. I have a link right there, right below where you see the info box. Just click on that, take a look, and again, share your thoughts.